Welcome to This Wild Journey, the podcast where your body, your brain, and your battle plan come together. If you're reeling from betrayal trauma, drowning in the chaos of divorce or custody court, feeling overwhelmed by post-trauma parenting, you are in the right place. We're here to untangle hard truths that bring clarity and courage so you can reclaim your power, protect your peace, and resolve trauma without reliving it. Let's get to work.
Hey friends, Bren here. I'm glad you're with us today. We're diving into something that can feel like walking through fire. How to respond when your ex twists the truth and tries to use it against you. If you've been there, you know the feeling. A message comes in. It's full of blame, false accusations, and emotional landmines. Suddenly your heart's racing and your nervous system's on high alert. You want to defend yourself, explain what really happened, and maybe even unload everything you've been holding back. But somewhere inside, you know responding that way won't help you. In fact, it could backfire. So the real question is, how do you respond without giving them fuel? And that's exactly what we're exploring today. And I'm so grateful to have Sarah here to walk us through it. Sarah leads Freedom Navigator, where she supports protective parents navigating family court with strategy, clarity, and strength. Sarah, this is such a core issue. Why is it so hard to respond well when an ex is spinning lies?
Oh, Bren, oh my goodness, this one hits really deep. It's hard because the stakes feel so high. When your ex is twisting the truth and making false accusations or manipulating your words, and deep down, you know that if you don't respond carefully, it could be used against you in court. It feels like everything counts so much, and you can start to feel frozen. And often, here's what happens. So an abusive ex, someone who's manipulative and deceptive and high conflict, as the court calls it, even though often it's an abuser-victim dynamic. But an abuser will often bait you into defending yourself. They want you to react emotionally so that they can screenshot your words and say, see, she's unstable. She's the problem. Look at this. I have the proof. And then if you don't respond at all, oftentimes they'll twist that too. See, they're uncooperative. They're alienating me from the kids. They won't even respond. They're completely blocking me out. And it feels like this no-win trap unless you learn how to play the game differently. And that kind of sucks because it shouldn't even have to be a game. But when you're dealing with an abusive person, it often is a game. And so you have to learn how to interact differently.
That's such a helpful reframe. And I know you've created a structure to help people respond without getting dragged into the drama. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. So I call this, when I'm working with my clients, I call this true north communication. Because when you're dealing with a toxic ex, you need a compass to guide you. And it cannot be your emotions. It's certainly, you can't have your rudder, your directions based on their manipulation. You need a steady, reliable North Star. So the acronym True North can help you remember how to guide your communication. And T in true stands for truthful. It means stick to the facts, not your opinions, not emotions. R is for responsive. Acknowledge, but don't engage in the drama. The U is for unbiased, maintaining that emotional detachment. And E is for evidence-based. Rely on documentation over feelings. So truthful, responsive, unbiased, evidence-based. And now for North, we have neutral. N stands for neutral. Communicate without escalating. O is for objective. You want to avoid the emotional traps and zoom out. What's the bird's eye view here? R is for respectful. Set boundaries without hostility. T, this is your second T, and this is for tactful. Choose your words wisely to reduce manipulation. And H is for honest. You've got to uphold your integrity without oversharing. So truthful, responsive, unbiased, and evidence-based, neutral, objective, respectful, tactful, and honest. And I know it feels like a lot, just all of that together can still feel like a lot. But if you keep this in front of you and you stick to true north as your baseline, your written communication in a high conflict divorce or custody situation, or even if you are not yet in court, your messages are still far more likely to hold up to scrutiny and to showcase that contrast so that you are clearly the calm, stable parent or partner, no matter what kind of chaos your ex is causing.
I love how clear and grounding that is. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent, steady, and strategic. But let's be honest. What do you say when your ex just flat out lies? Like, not a small twist, but a full on distortion of what actually happened.
Yeah, that's not fun. And I work with clients on this all the time because our first instinct is to rise up and make sure everyone knows the truth, right? If you're a truthful person, if you're an honest person, a person of integrity and conscience, it can be almost physically painful for other people to be flat out lying. So, first, you need to take a deep breath and then don't engage. And I know that's probably not what you want me to say, but it is almost always the best response to recognize that you probably don't actually need to prove anything to your ex. And you do absolutely need to document what is true in case you ever need it for court. So here's how that kind of looks in practice. Instead of, that's not true, I never did that, you're lying, make a positive statement of fact. For example, you could say, the custody agreement states XYZ, I will follow the agreement. Instead of, you always twist things to make me look bad, you could say, I will not engage in back and forth. My focus is on what's best for the children. Instead of, that's not what happened, you know that's not true, you could say, per our last communication on XYZ date, we agreed on XYZ plan. I will follow that agreement. Your goal is to keep it calm, simple, and factual. No matter how outrageous the accusations are, don't get drawn into arguing about a lie.
Wow, that's such a powerful shift. You're not
Yeah.
chasing their version of the truth. You're calmly standing on the facts and keeping your credibility intact. I know this is hard in the moment, especially
Mhm.
when you're exhausted or triggered. How can someone train themselves not to take the bait?
Well, it takes a lot of practice. And that's what I work with parents on over and over again, because this is not something that happens instantly. You're not going to sit and listen to this podcast today and be like, dude, I've got this. I'm good from now on. I'm never going to need to, sit and calm myself again. So it does take practice. But here's a mental shift that can help you. So remember that while you do need to respond to important things, you do not need to feel trauma obligated to message back immediately. And often, if
Mm.
you immediately message back, then they immediately message back, and that is a fast track to escalating. Instead, you want to give yourself some space and time to fully process what's needed. So if they say something awful, Pause, breathe, set it aside. Ask yourself, is this just bait? If I respond with the emotions of how I feel right now, is it going to help me or is it going to help them build a case against me? And if a judge read this, what would they probably think? So if the answer is yes, it's bait, then you either pause, set it aside, and don't respond at all, or write a draft, let it sit overnight, and then rewrite it, pull everything extra out of it, stick to the facts only, and send it when it is necessary to send it. But sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all.
That's such a good reminder. You're allowed to pause. You don't owe anyone an instant reply, especially not someone who thrives on provoking you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's say someone listening has already fallen into the trap. Maybe they've sent reactive messages they regret, maybe more than once. Is it too late? What's the next best step?
Okay, so first, let go of the guilt. You're human. You make mistakes. It happens. And second, it's never too late to start fresh. So if that's been you in the past, and I'll be honest, I can think of maybe one client that I've worked with that already had this down before they started. But in general, all of us have some emotional rants in our text history, right? Especially with a partner that has been really volatile. So from now on, you change. The moment to change is now. Every message going forward is a new opportunity for you to build credibility and consistency with calm. So if your past responses were emotional, now, today is the day to shift to a calm, factual approach. If you are in the family court process, or if you are headed that direction, even potentially, it's important to remember that family court isn't about just one message. It's about showing patterns over time. And you can start building a strong, stable, court-ready pattern of communication today.
That's such a relief. It's never too late to change the pattern.
Yeah.
And Sarah, I know you go way deeper into this in your Freedom Navigator program, but you've also put together a quick start guide for protective parents who need help right now. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I created Exposing the Playbook to give parents a clear strategy to anticipate your abuser's next move in court without feeling trapped and cornered. And this short ebook breaks down exactly how abusive exes twist communication and how to respond in a way that keeps you more protected. And because I know how hard this is and how expensive legal fees are, I'm offering it for just $7 so that it's accessible to anyone who needs it. If you're listening and this is something that you desperately need, you can check the link in the show notes to grab a copy.
Friends, if you're navigating a high conflict situation, this ebook is your roadmap. So go grab it now for just $7 at the link in the show notes. And if today's episode was helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who needs it. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and remember, you don't have to walk this wild journey alone.
Brought to you by Wilderness to Wild. www.thiswildjourneypodcast.com.